All right, guys. So about last night, about last night. Things were interesting. So I'm going to recap last night, as that was probably one of the wildest swings that you will see outside of a sports game. Um, which it definitely felt like I was watching ping pong, in which President Trump came out killing it. Um, Overperforming, proving all the polls wrong. I mean, by all accounts, guys, President Trump had a great night last night compared to what the expectations were from the polls coming in. So that's good. But some things happened late in the night that really have thrown a wrench in this election, and it looks like this is going to be dragged out for a while. But before we get into that, my name is Greg Foreman, and you're watching a Black Conservative Perspective. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black Conservative Perspective. You can also follow me on Twitter at GForemanBCP. Let's get it. All right, guys. Like I said, last night was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. But first, let's talk about the Senate race real quick here, just so we can go over that real quick. That's pretty tight. The GOP has outperformed in the Senate race as well. I mean, guys, these polls are just these polls are terrible, man. These polls are gonna have to find new jobs. You can see the map here. It's pretty closely contested. Mitch McConnell regained his seat. Mitch McConnell retained his seat, and Lindsey Graham won his seat as well. Now, guys, like I said, for the Senate race, North Carolina has not been decided yet. Georgia hasn't been decided yet. Michigan hasn't been decided yet, and they're close, but it's looking really good for the Republicans, guys. I mean, they're basically leading as of right now in all of those states, and Alaska as well. So, I mean, right now, it looks like the Republicans could maintain that majority in the Senate, guys, and maybe even worst case, no majority, but we will see. Anything can still happen. The Dow Jones is up 1.7% as of 10:38 Eastern time. So they're responding positively to the mess that's going on in the presidential election, which is interesting. Now that we talked about that, back to what happened on election night. President Trump started off really strong. He came out and took a clear lead in Florida, in which he really killed it there. He really needed Florida. Miami showed out for President Trump. And they basically led the way, in which, like I said, he took Florida. It took a while for them to call Florida, which is another video I'm going to make ranting about the news. But it took a while for them to call Florida. He came out. He won Ohio, which he needed to win. He got Texas. They was talking about that being a swing state. Right now, he has a strong lead in Pennsylvania, even though that is not being called yet. He has a decent lead in North Carolina. Georgia, he's leading. However, guys, right now, as you can see on the electoral map, it is Biden 238 to Trump 213. So technically, this is not over yet. Biden came out last night and basically said that he thinks that they're going to win.
I'm here to tell you tonight, we believe we're on track to win this election. We knew because of the unprecedented early vote and the mail-in vote.
President Trump was a little bit more stronger in terms of his declaration in regards to him basically claiming victory.
This is a fraud on the American public. This is an embarrassment to our country. We were getting ready to win this election. Frankly, we did win this election. So our goal now is to ensure the integrity for the good of this nation. This is a very big moment.
Mike Pence was more cautious than President Trump in regards to where he's at.
And while the votes continue to be counted, we're going to remain vigilant, as the president said. The right to vote has been at the center of our democracy since the founding of this nation, and we're going to protect the integrity of the vote. But I really believe with all of my heart, with the extraordinary margins, Mr. President, that you've inspired in the states that you just described, and the way that you launched this movement across the country to make America great again, I truly do believe, as you do, that we are on the road to victory and we will make America great again.
I think what really bothers me the most, guys, is just how messed up this election is and how messed up it's going, particularly this Wisconsin situation where, guys, take a look at this graph here. You have the Republican votes coming in. They're steady Democrat, Republican. Basically steady Democrat, Republican votes are going up. And then all of a sudden, the Democrat votes spiked this morning from the mail-in ballots that come in. And that makes sense if you believe the Democrat narrative, which is that all the mail-in ballots are basically Democrat votes. But that's not actually true in the numbers, guys, for early voting in Wisconsin. For mail-in ballots, guys, look at the breakdown. Most people, by party registration, were 35% Democrat, 43% Republican, and 22% other. And the ballots that were returned is literally the exact same breakdown. So unless a ton of Republicans broke for Biden, or other broke for Biden, then that literally makes no sense that it would be a spike like that without some type of real movement for President Trump in Wisconsin. So I'm just saying that's just weird to me. That's just a weird situation. I mean, that could be something reasonable to explain it. I may be looking at it wrong. I may be missing something, but to me, that's just weird. Georgia, which Trump has basically been winning the whole time, is basically going to come down to some mail-in ballots. It's going to basically come down to some absentee ballots and ballots that haven't been counted in Fulton County, which is basically Atlanta, which is strong Democrat territory. And that's why Georgia hasn't been called yet. And apparently, for whatever reason, the votes were stopped counting because there were a pipe bust or something like that happened that stopped votes from being counted. Which is ironic when you think about the fact that in Philadelphia, there were reports that they have stopped counting ballots as well from a Democrat stronghold, in which it just seems to me that they're unnecessarily dragging out the results of this election in two states that President Trump needs to mathematically win this election at this point, which to me is sketchy. You know, it just makes me wonder who in the hell thought it was a good idea to wait till election day to start counting the ballots, the mail-in ballots. I mean, Florida was counting their ballots from day one when they started receiving them. And that's why we got a result for Florida, and the votes came in so fast. I mean, right now, guys, again, this is as of 9:44 a.m. Pennsylvania has only 64% of the expected vote in. I mean, it doesn't make sense. So, I mean, Pennsylvania could be counting ballots up until Friday, guys. It could be up till Friday until we find out what happens with Pennsylvania. Now, hopefully, North Carolina is going to be called for Trump pretty soon here. He's been leading. I think the New York Times has him. The New York Times gives him a 86% chance of winning. But they also are giving Biden a 64% chance of winning Georgia, which, like I said, guys, because essentially what the argument is that there's a bunch of Democratic votes that are going to come in from Fulton County in Georgia that still haven't been counted yet. So that's basically what the issue is right now. And again, it's frustrating. It's very frustrating, and it shows exactly why people don't have faith in this election. People on both sides don't have faith in this election because the people that are running our country, for the most part, are incompetent. I mean, why would you, as a state legislator, why would you decide, if you know how contentious this election is going to be, why don't you just count the ballots from the get-go? Why don't you just make sure you get your results out as fast as you can so your state can be decided on? Now we're sitting here in a situation where this is going to drag out at least for another few days. It might be decided today. Who knows? And if this doesn't go the way that President Trump wants it to go, it looks like he's probably going to try to take it to the Supreme Court. And which, who knows? I mean, basically either party at this point looks like if it doesn't go the way they want it to go, they're going to take it to the Supreme Court. So now the American people have to continue to have this drag out and to go through this really unnecessarily because the people that are running our country are idiots. They don't understand. I mean, first of all, the decision to have these mail-in ballots in the first place. I mean, literally last night, guys, there were people protesting in the streets, particularly in Washington, D.C. So this is allowed, but people can't get up and go to the polls and vote. So now we got to rely on mail-in ballots that looks like could possibly flip Pennsylvania if enough of them come back Democratic from that Philadelphia and those other Democratic areas in Pennsylvania. And guys, this is exactly what Axios had predicted. And you guys remember that video I had posted a long time ago, early on, where they basically said it's going to look like President Trump won on election night, but then the mail-in ballots are going to come in, and then they're going to have Biden winning all of a sudden. I mean, to me, that seems to be what is playing out here, which is the worst case scenario for this country. Not just because Biden win, but because of the legitimacy of it is most certainly going to be questioned. And I'm just dumbfounded by how these state leaders have allowed it to get to this point. Pennsylvania should have been called by now. They should never stop counting the ballots. Ballots should be counted all night. As soon as they come in, they should be counted. But instead, you wait till election day to start counting the ballots. And then we end up with this buffoonery in which we got to sit here and continue to wait to decide who's going to be president of the United States. So, at this point, guys, the media has not called it. President Trump is saying that he won. Joe Biden has said that he thinks he's going to win. Mike Pence is basically saying, we need to wait a little bit and continue to have the votes to come in. That's basically where it's at this point. Can President Trump still win? Yes, absolutely. But it looks like he needs to win Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, and he needs to flip. He needs to win either Nevada, which, Biden has a very, very, very slim margin right now, Michigan, or Wisconsin. He needs to win Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, and either get Nevada, Wisconsin, or Michigan to close this thing. Let's hope that this does not come down to mail-in votes. So we'll see what happens. But, man, last night was just crazy. President Trump was killing it. I mean, he came out. He won the states that he needed to win. He showed a strong performance. I mean, guys, even at one time, most of the night he was leading in Virginia. Most of the nights he was leading in Virginia. But however, what happened in Virginia is once the Democrat votes came in, Virginia flipped to blue. That's what happened. And it happened quickly. So a lot of people, were reasonably upset about Virginia being called so early, but historically they just knew that once those Democrat votes came in from those high population areas in Virginia, particularly Northern Virginia, that it was going to flip blue. And that's exactly what happened. So, regardless, President Trump performed very strong. It's unfortunate it's coming down to this. However, this is something that I think I said in my live stream with Mario, that this is a scenario that I saw that I didn't think it would be decided on election night, and this is where we're at. So hang tight, guys. Let's hope that President Trump can pull one out here, and if he can't win outright, like I said, that's why we have Amy Coney Barrett in our back pocket taking this to the Supreme Court, because if this comes down to these mail-in ballots in Pennsylvania, then we still got a lot more to fight, guys. And this is why it was so important to confirm ACB before this election, and we did what we had to do for our backup plan. So we'll see, guys. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.